Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'll be showing you how to make Roblox GFX in 2024. This is going to be a complete beginner tutorial, so if you don't know anything about making Roblox GFX, this tutorial will walk you through each step of the way. There's two software you're going to need for this tutorial, and that is Roblox Studio and Blender. They're both completely free and I'll link them down in the description below. If you didn't already know, Roblox GFX actually has a lot of post effects and post-production you need to do to make it really look good, and that can usually be done inside of Photoshop or the free alternative Photopea. I'll link those as well, but I won't be showing you how to do any post effects today. I will make a post effects tutorial in the future though. Before we begin though, I do just want to say if this tutorial does help you and you are looking to get into Roblox GFX more than just the simple render that we're going to be creating today, make sure to subscribe because I've got a ton of tutorials on this channel. We've also got a completely free asset store with new products coming out every single month that, once again, are completely free, available at GFXRhino.com. If you have any issues throughout this video, we've got a dedicated GFX support channel in the GFXRhino Discord server linked in the description below. Even if you're not joining for support, join the GFXRhino Discord server. It's a great community that I'm really trying to grow. So like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out GFXRhino.com for completely free Roblox GFX assets. Let's jump right into the video. To start off, I'm inside of Roblox Studio. You want to go up to View at the top, and you want to make sure Properties right here is enabled. You also want to make sure Toolbox right here is enabled, and the Explorer right here should be enabled as well. Once you've got those enabled, you can come down to the Toolbox. Mine's on the side here, but it might be in a different location for you. You want to change this right here from Models to Plugins. You can search up Load Character Light, just like that. Click Enter, and it'll come up with this completely free plugin by Already Pro called Load Character Light. You want to click on it, and then you want to click the Install button right here. I already have it installed. After you've got that, you want to head up to Plugins at the top of your screen, and it'll be somewhere up in this top bar. I've got a few other plugins installed, but it'll be right here, the Load Character plugin. You want to click on it to open it up, and then in here you can type in anyone's username and then click Spawn R6 to spawn them in. I'll also link my character customization tutorial up in the corner or somewhere in the description, which that video teaches you how you can customize your avatar more than just importing it with this plugin. So after you've typed in someone's username there, you want to make sure you click Spawn R6. This is a very important step that you do Spawn R6 and not Spawn R15. Otherwise in Blender, your character's texture might end up looking like this. So now that you've got your character, you want to click on him, and then you want to make sure you have your properties open. You want to make sure under transform and under origin, the position right here is set to 0,3,0. This is a very important step because if you don't make sure he's in the center of the map like this, then when you import it into Blender, the accessories will be in the wrong position. Anyways, now that you got your character, you want to right click on his group in the Explorer, and then you want to click Export Selection right here. Once you've done that, you want to make a new folder, and then inside of there, you just want to name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it Char or Car, or however you want to pronounce that. It is just short for character, and then just click Save. Next, you want to open up his group, and then you should have all of your different accessories. They'll have this little accessory icon next to them. You want to export each individual accessory, so right click on it, Export Selection. This is the glasses, so I'm going to call them glasses, and then click Save. And then next up, we've got the hair, so it's the same thing. Right click, Export Selection. I'm going to call this hair, and then we're going to click Save. Now that we've got our character exported, we next need a rig. You want to head over to softgb.gumroad.com where you can pick up the Roblox starter rig. You can see it's almost at 100,000 downloads, so it's kind of the basic, the default, the industry standard for Roblox GFX rigs. Type in 0 to get it for free. You can type in like 5 if you want to do a donation, but then you want to click Purchase. Type in your email address, and you can once again type in a tip if you want to do a donation, but then just click Get. After you've done that, it'll send a receipt to your email address, and you'll be able to download both of these files right here. I'm not going to be showing you how to use Roblox HD faces today, but it is something that's pretty cool and easy to use if you just want to change the face inside of Blender. But as I said, I'm not going to be showing you how to do that, so we're just going to download the starter rig zip file right here. Next, you want to open up Blender. I've got a few add-ons and stuff, so I've got this little bar up here that you won't have, but that doesn't matter. We're not going to be using any of that today. You just want to click A on your keyboard to select all this default stuff. Click X and then click Delete right there, and that'll delete all the default stuff. We don't need any of that. You want to first of all make sure your render engine is set to cycles, and then you want to go under sampling, under viewport, and under render here, and there'll be these max samples. You want to set the max samples under render to about 280 or 240 even. In the viewport, you want to set the max samples to about 120 or 140. These will just make it so it renders a lot quicker. And Cycles is kind of the default render engine. It looks way better than Eevee, the default one that's selected. So yeah, you want to make sure it's set to Cycles, and you can also set it to GPU compute right here if you have a GPU. If you don't, CPU works just fine. Next up, you want to go up to Edit, Preferences. You want to go into Add-ons, and then you want to click Install. Next, you want to find the Roblox starter rigs.zip file right here that we just downloaded. You want to select it, and then you want to click Install Add-on. After you've installed it, it should pop up like this, and then you want to make sure it is enabled by just clicking that. I've got an error, but that doesn't matter because it actually is working. There we go. You want to make sure it is enabled. You're going to be in this Blender version or above to use the Roblox starter rigs. I'm in Blender version 4.1.1, but you can use whatever version as long as it's above the version on screen right now. Next up, you want to click N on your keyboard to open up the side panel. Of course, if you click N and it closes, you just want to click N to open it up again. I have a bunch of different add-ons here, but you will just have a few. You want to click on the starter rigs one here. It'll be like up here for you. Then it'll open up this little starter rigs menu where you can then select which rig you want. So I've of course got the blocky rig, so I'm going to click blocky rig. Next, you want to go up to these 4 circles in the corner, and you want to make sure it's set to material preview mode, which is this circle right here. This lets us see our textures. This is the mode we're mostly going to be working in, but there's also this one right here, which is render preview. You can see when I enable that, it shows what it's going to look like in the render. We've got no lighting just yet, but that is fine. I'll show you how to add some in just a second, but never ever work in this. This is just to, of course, preview how the render's going to look. Most of the time you want to work in material preview, but if your PC is quite low end, you might want to work in solid mode. But for now, we're just going to go into material preview mode because we actually need to see the textures we're about to apply to this character. So what you want to do is you want to select his head, and you want to go up to the shading tab at the top of Blender. If it's not there for you, you can click plus, go into general, and then it should be shading right there. Open up the shading tab, and then we're going to move the camera. You can use the middle mouse wheel, the scroll wheel, to zoom in and out, and if you click and drag on it, you can move the camera. If you hold down shift while clicking on the middle scroll wheel, you can drag around like this. So we're just going to adjust the camera. It's kind of annoying to use at first, but after a few minutes you'll get used to moving around like this. Now down in the shader editor, we're going to select all of these nodes right here. This is of course the HD faces, which as I explained before, I will not be showing you how to use today. So you're going to select those and then click X on your keyboard to delete them. Then you can once again, the same way we move around in here by holding down the middle scroll wheel, we can move around in here. We're going to move this main texture close. We're going to zoom in by just scrolling, and then we're going to connect the color up to the base color. Now this is where you change the texture. So you want to click X right here to delete that current texture. You want to click open, and then you want to navigate to your new folder, which in here you should have a handle1_diff.png, and then you want to click open image. Now, a quick explanation, if you have multiple handle1_diff.pngs here, you just want to try each one until one works, and you can tell when it works when it looks like the actual character's texture. But if your textures are messed up in any way, shape or form, you can check out my full tutorial showing you how to fix all Roblox GFX texture errors, or at least all of the most common texture errors inside of Blender. I'll link that in the corner right now as well as in the description too. But after you've got your character's texture applied, we need to now import the accessories. So we're going to go up to File, import wavefront OBJ right here. We're going to once again navigate to our folder. I've got the hair and the glasses. You might have more accessories, but what you're going to do is you're going to select the OBJ. Don't select the .mtl, only the OBJ file. And then you want to hold down Control on your keyboard, and then you want to click on the other OBJ of your other accessory. You will have the characters OBJ right here. You don't want to import that one. You only want to import the accessories ones. And of course, you only want to export the .obj ones, not the MTL one. So I've got my hair and my glasses .obj is selected right here. You want to click import wavefront OBJ. That will of course import both of your accessories. And now that we've got that done, we're actually going to move back into the layout tab at the top. If your accessories textures are transparent or broken, or just broken in some way, I'll once again link you to the how to fix the most common GFX texture errors, linked in the description below. Now that we've got that, if we actually try and select the move tool at the side here, which by the way, if it's not here for you, there should be a little arrow that you click to pop it out. If we select this and then we use the move tool to move it, you will see the accessories actually don't move along with it. So what we need to do is we need to parent the accessories to whichever bone they need to be parented to. So to actually attach the accessories to the rig, you want to come up to the collection, to the what is this called, the outliner at the side right here, and you want to close up the shapes collection right here. In fact, we don't even need the shapes collection, so if you'd want, this is optional, you can right click on it and do delete hierarchy. That's just to get it out the way so we can understand what's going on a bit more. well. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to select one of your accessories. So I've got the glasses selected right here, and then you want to control click on the rig. So now you should have both selected. You want to make sure, this is very, very important, you want to make sure you select your accessory and then the rig, not the other way around. You want to make sure the rig is the last thing that you select. Now we're going to head into our viewport over here, and we're going to go up to here where it says object mode. We're going to change this to pose mode. Once you're in pose mode, you can select the bone you want to attach it to. Of course, these glasses go onto the head, so I'm going to attach it to this neck bone. So you want to select the bone you want to attach it to. Of course, if you have like a sword, you'd attach it to the hand bone. If you have like a holster to hold a gun or whatever, you'd attach it to the legs. If you have a backpack, you'd attach it to the torso, etc, etc, etc. After you've got the bone selected, you want to click Control P on your keyboard, and you want to go down to where it says bone. You want to select bone right there, and that'll attach it to the bone. Now I'm going to switch back into object mode at the top, and we're going to do the same thing for the hair. So I'm going to select the hair, and then I'm going to control click on the rig, making sure once again that the rig is the last thing you select. Now I'm going to go back into pose mode, and we're going to attach the hair to the neck bone, because of course the hair is a part of the head. So you want to go Control P, bone, and now when we switch back into object mode and we grab the rig right here, you can see the glasses and the hair move along with it just well. And as well, if we just select the rig in the outliner here, and then we go up into pose mode, you can see as well, when I now select the rotation tool here, and then I rotate the head, you can see it all moves along just perfectly. Another optional step is you can select both of your rigs by holding down Control, and then you can drag them onto the blocky rig, which will then actually put them inside of the blocky rig here. Otherwise, they're just linked like this, where you can see it like has multiple of them. They're just linked, so you actually want to select both of your accessories and you want to drag them into the blocky rig, but that's not actually necessary. You don't have to do that. It just keeps it a bit more organized, especially if you're going to be using multiple rigs. So now we need to go ahead and pose it. So we're just going to select the rig in the outliner, and we're going to go change it to pose mode once again. So now you want to go ahead and pose them up. You can just select each bone, and then of course use the rotate tool here to rotate it however you'd like. Another thing to note as well is when you bend your upper arm like this, sometimes you can see that it kind of goes over the edge. It kind of looks kind of weird how it's, you know, posed like that. So what you can actually do is go and select the move tool at the side, and then you can just move it down. You can move it a little bit outwards if you need. It is pretty common practice to move the upper arm if you need to, just because the way it naturally rotates up like that, it can look kind of, you know, goofy. So you might want to actually move it to make it look better. And as well, it can kind of look bad at the back, so you might want to move it a little bit more forward, down, a little bit to the left, you know, move it if you need to. When you're finished, you can go back up to pose mode and change it back to object mode. And now we need to actually add in a camera and a little bit of lighting. So it's actually not as hard as you may think. You actually just want to go up to add camera right here. Then you want to click 0 on your numpad, but if you don't have a numpad, you can just go up to this little camera view button right here, change it to the camera view, and that'll put you, of course, in the camera view. We're going to now click shift and then this little squiggly button. It should be up kind of near the top left of your keyboard. You want to click shift and then that little squiggly button, and you want to move the camera just by using WASD to move it. You can use E to go up, Q to go down, and then just move it around. You can also scroll upwards to, you know, increase the speed, and if you need to do it a lot more slow, you can just, you know, scroll down to decrease the speed of how fast it moves. Another thing is you might want to also go down to right here, the output properties, click on that, and then you can change the resolution. So if you're making like a profile picture, you can make it 1080 by 1080, so that makes it a square. And then it's the same thing if you're making like a thumbnail, you do 1920 by 1080. You can do whatever size you want here. If it's super high, it'll take longer to render, so I just suggest doing 1080 by 1080 or whatever size you want to do. You can also, with the camera selected, go down into the camera properties, and then under focal length, you can actually decrease this to zoom it out and zoom it in. A lot of the time you actually want to do it at about 40 millimeters for the focal length. Then once again, clicking shift and then that squiggly line, you can do a pretty nice camera angle. You don't actually want to do it straight on like this. That's kind of a boring camera angle. You can do that if you like, of course. That's the great thing about Roblox GFX. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to move it off to the side here, just because a more unique, interesting camera angle like this can usually be pretty cool. And then after you've got your camera in, you might want to adjust the pose a little bit once again. So I'm going to make him looking at the camera, kind of waving at the camera too. So I'm going to move his arm up, and maybe I'm going to make his arm a little bit more bent. So there we go. We're pretty much done. You can go up to render preview to see how it's going to look in the render. And of course, it's completely dark. We need a little bit of lighting. So lighting can actually go really, really in depth, and you'll learn that later on in GFX. It actually does go more in depth than just this, but for the complete basic and beginners and stuff, you want to actually head over to this site right here, polyhaven.com. You want to scroll down, and then you want to select browse HDRIs right here. So HDRIs are essentially just like pictures pictures taken of real life. They're not really pictures, but they essentially just take the lighting and then you can use them in Blender. So they're literally photos taken in real life, but they have lighting data in them, if that makes sense, or it's something like that. I'm going to use this industrial sunset pure sky one right here. You want to get it in about 2K resolution. You can get it in high resolution if you want, but I'm just going to do 2K. You want to make sure it is set to EXR. We're going to click download right here. And after you have downloaded that, you want to go back into the shading tab at the top of Blender, and then down in your shader editor right here, we're actually going to change this from object to world. This is going to show us the world output. Next, we're going to go down to add texture, and then we're going to select the environment texture right here. And this will add in an environment texture, which we can just click and drag on to move it. It's the same thing we did before. It's clicking and dragging on the scroll wheel to move it around like this. We're going to connect the color right here to the color just by dragging it over to the color. And you'll see here that it actually appears purple. That's because we don't have an HDRI installed yet. So what we need to do is we need to click open, and then that .exr or .hdr file we just downloaded, you want to select that one. So there it is for me, the .exr file. I'm just going to click open image. So once you've done that, you want to switch into render preview, and you'll be able to see what it kind of looks like. It's a little bit laggy for me, but I'm sure you can still understand what's going on. Yeah, this is the HDRI, the sky we've just installed, and it's done a little bit of lighting for us. But I don't really like how it's angled. You can see if we go around to the back of the character, it's kind of got some nice sort of sunset lighting, but at the front, it's just kind of too blue. It's too dark at the front. You can see all the lights coming from the back, and there's no light at the front, but we do actually want the light coming from the front. So to rotate the HDRI, you actually want to go up to add. You want to go under input here, and then you want to do texture coordinate. You want to put this one over to the side. Now we're going to go to add vector, and then we're going to choose the mapping node right here. And then you can just click to set where you want it to be. And now you want to connect this generated from the texture coordinate up to the vector. And then you want to connect the vector up to the vector of the HDRI right here. And now what that lets you do is you can rotate it on the Z axis right here to rotate the HDRI, and you can rotate it to a little bit of a better angle so you can see it looks a lot nicer now. You can of course increase the strength right here if you want it to be a lot brighter. I don't want it to be that bright though, so I'm going to keep it at 1. After it looks pretty good, you can head back to the layout tab at the top. You could be done here if you wanted to, but a few extra things you might want to do. First of all, you might want to go down to the render properties at the side here, scroll all the way down to where it says, where does it say? Film right here. You want to scroll all the way down to where it says film. You want to click on it to open it up. And then right here where it says transparent, you want to check that, and that actually makes the background transparent. Sorry that it's quite laggy, but you get the point. You can be done there if you'd like, but there's also a lot more other stuff. You can also go up to add mesh plane. That'll add in a plane. You can click S on your keyboard to scale it up. Just click S and then drag your mouse to scale it up. If you want to add grass or something, you can search up a tutorial to add grass onto your plane. You can add like a texture onto the plane. You can add like a wall in the background. You can add like trees or whatever you want to add. But that is kind of the complete basics to it. You can now, when you're finished, make sure you're in material preview. You don't want to waste resources by being in render preview. So you actually just want to go into material preview. And then when you're ready, you can click F12 to start to render it out. And because we've only got a few things in the scene, it renders pretty quickly. It is a little bit laggy, but yeah, once it is finished rendering, you can go up to image, save as, and I like to always save my renders to the same folder that I exported my character to, so I'm just going to save it as untitled.png, and there we go. You have your final render like that. You can obviously get a lot more in depth with it. You can then add this picture right here into Photoshop. You can give it a nice sky background. You can put some mountains in the background, some birds maybe, I don't know, inside of Blender as well. You can add some extra models. You can add, you can add some trees in the back. You can add some grass to this plane we added. You can add grass onto it. You can really add whatever you like. That's the great thing, as I mentioned before, that's the great thing about Roblox GFX. You can really just do whatever you like. You have a lot of freedom with it. And in fact, I do highly suggest you do a lot more with the scenery. Maybe you want to go up to add light and then use some area lights to spice up the lighting a little bit, give them like a rim light. I wish you all good luck with your Roblox GFX journey, because it is a long way to go. It's not as simple as just doing this every day and making a few thousand Robux. You definitely got a lot to learn, and it gets a lot more in depth than what I've shown you today. So good luck with that. You can do it as long as you stick to it and stay consistent. I want to thank you all very much for watching. If this tutorial was helpful at all, make sure to like and subscribe, because that does support me a lot. I wish you the best of luck with your GFX journey. I've been Bigfoot, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.